Welcome to week 2, day number 8 of your acceleration training. If you remember last week, what we focused on was the foundation, right? We talked about building a solid foundation, clarity around where it is that you are right now, where it is that you want to go, and ultimately how it is that you're going to get there. We talked about obstacles. We talked about the reason why. Why was it so important for you to be clear on why you wanted what it is that you wanted? Now today we're going to continue that conversation. We're going to talk about something called the code. Now the code is a framework that we can use on top of our foundation to help continue to build us to where it is that ultimately we want to go. Now I want you to think about this for a reason. What are the biggest issues in today's society? Is it the lack of information or is it too much information? Is it the lack of diversity or too much diversity? Is it the lack of health or too much health? Where does this all lie? Well, the truth is, behind every issue that we're having today is the lack of a code that people live by. And because there's a lack of a code, what do? We hide, right? We make decisions based off of feelings. And what does that allow us to do? It allows us to pretend. And we have filters for our faces. We have filters for our backgrounds. We have filters for our voices. We have filters for our locations. We have filters for everything that we do in life. But the truth is that none of those filters are reality. And because we don't live in reality, we can't make decisions the right way. And so we never truly get the results that we want. Sure, you can doctor an image online, but ultimately that's not you and it's not going to make you any happier. Sure, you can take a picture of a screenshot of somebody else's bank account and post it online, but because it's not yours, it's not actually going to help you get the results that you want to get. So enough about that. Enough about pretending, enough about filtering, enough about hiding. It's time to learn a code that you can leverage for the rest of your life that will help you in your decision-making process. Now, inside of here, we use a code that's very simple. Real, raw, relevant results. Again, real, raw, relevant, and results. We're going to start with real. What does real mean? And I already mentioned this to you guys, but you've been taught to look at life through filters. And so it's hard to determine what's real and what's not. You get on a dating app, you look at somebody, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to swipe right on that one. And then you meet them in person, and you're like, how is this the same person? Because it's not the same person, because that was a filtered person. That wasn't reality, right? So we're always looking for the facts, but we don't know where to find the facts. Was the election doctored or was it not? I don't know. It's too hard to tell anymore. Who creates the war? Who creates the high demand when it comes to prices? Who artificially inflates the interest rate or drops it? We're always constantly looking for the facts. And because we can't be real, we can't actually build a life that matters because we're stuck in fantasy land. We're stuck pretending that we actually know what we want. We're stuck pretending of what is real and what isn't. And so we're really looking for access to reality when we talk about being real. Now, the second piece is being raw. People are taught today to suppress their feelings, right? And it's the feelings about how you truly feel about someone. You can be angry, you can be sad, you can be happy, you can be glad, you can feel guilt, you can feel shame. But we're taught to do what? To hide, to bottle up inside, especially as men. It's not okay to feel. It's not okay to be angry. It's not okay to be happy. It's not okay to be excited. It's not okay to be sad. We have to be even-keeled. And I remember this because my father was in the military. And what do they teach you in the military? Don't think, don't feel, just do as you're told. And that's the way I was taught growing up. Do as you're told. Do as you're told. And many of you have experienced this very same thing. And because we've lost access to emotion, ultimately, what do we have? A disconnect from reality. So even if we know the truth, because we can't truly expose our feelings, we're still disconnected from that reality. Now, it's great to be real. It's great to get raw and express those emotions, but ultimately, all of that stuff needs a container. It needs a container that guides that, right? It needs to be relevant. You getting pissed off at the driver that cut you off is not a relevant feeling. That feeling is not going to help you get what you want. You understand that, right? That's just going to make you angry. The teenager who cut you off, who's drinking Starbucks, is not going to care about how you feel. And yet you think that they are. And ultimately, her day wasn't ruined, but yours sure as hell was. So we need a container, right? We need it to be real. We need it to be raw so that it can be relevant, right? This is the place from which we can build a better life. And the last piece of the puzzle is results, right? The commitment to do whatever it takes to get what it is that we want, right? It's the WIFT method. What is it that you want, and what are you willing to do to get those results? So real, raw, and relevant only matter if they lead to the results that we want. If you want a happier, peaceful life, you getting pissed off about the teenager that cut you off is not going to get you there. You getting pissed off about the fact that your wife doesn't want to have sex with you is not going to get you there. What's the real reason why, and what are the real emotions associated with that? What's the container, what makes it relevant, and then what will actually get you the results, right? The more real you can be, the more raw you can be, the more relevant it all is, but ultimately the results are what matters most, right? This comes down to a very important thing in your life and in mine. In fact, in everyone's life. And you've probably heard this before. People are tired of you telling them they want you to show them, right? Your family doesn't care about your feelings, whether you feel like getting up in the morning and going to work or not, whether you feel like sending that invoice or not, whether you feel like finishing that house or not. Nobody cares except for you, right? They care about the results. They don't care about your feelings. So you have to learn to put these in the proper order. It's not feelings that comes first, it's facts. Facts get powered by feelings, or facts get drowned by feelings. We have to have the right feelings, and they have to be relevant to where it is that we want to go to ultimately get the results that we want. So today's assignment, here we go. Based off of what we talked about yesterday, share with the group what it was like to have a real conversation with your spouse or your significant other. If you didn't do it, now's the time to do it. What was it like to have a real conversation to talk about the reality of what you wanted in your life? What feelings came up while you were talking through this? Some of them may have been positive, some of them may not have. Either way, there were feelings that came up. So your assignment, 2-minute video or less in the group, what was it like to have a real conversation with your spouse or significant other? And what feelings came up? All right, you know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go.